And we're joined now from Mexico City by Maria Salazar. She was policy advisor to President Clinton and later oversaw the Pentagon's counter-drug program. Maria Salazar, isn't this a testament to the complete failure of the war on drugs?
I would say it's a testament for a lack of institutions that can deal with extremely, extremely dangerous criminal organizations. I have to say, these types of organizations, I mean, the images we saw right now, you could also see in other parts of the country. So this is more than just drugs. I mean, they're also trafficking in mines. They're also it is a problem of drugs. And it's a problem of guns that are also coming from the United States. So yes, it's a failure, but we got to be really clear where this failure is coming from.
Well, if we're clear about where the failure is coming from, and we're talking about deaths running on the same scale as the civil war in Syria, which is a shattering thought. But if we know what the failure is, how is it to be addressed?
Well, like I said, in any country, these organizations would be a huge challenge. What has happened in Mexico is that when you don't have a functioning criminal justice system, you end up using your army and other means to try to deal with these organizations. And they haven't been, I mean, in the United States or even in Europe, when you have these enormous threats, you have legislation that allows your governments to use kind of extraordinary mechanisms. Mexican law doesn't allow for it. I mean, they basically want prosecutors and police to go after, you saw this guy, La Tuta, or the Zeta organization in northern Mexico that, believe it or not, are even more violent in the way they exercise their territorial control. So there's a problem of
sorry to interrupt, but isn't there another way of dealing with this, and that is to look at supply and demand? If there were no demand,
absolutely.
If there were no demand, this would be nonsense. But the fact is that the greatest consumer of drugs in the Americas is the United States.
Oh, absolutely. But what are we going to do about the mining with the Chinese? Or what are we going to do about them? Basically, these organizations are living off the trafficking of people, which this organization in particular doesn't. What are we going to do with the extortions? I mean, absolutely. If you legalize drugs, I'm sure part of the strength of these organizations would be weakened, but up to a certain point, because then they can go and traffic, which we also saw in...
But this is absolutely fascinating because this, forgive me, is fascinating because we're actually hearing somebody who was very close to President Clinton and actually operated for the Pentagon at a very senior level, agreeing with the president of Uruguay, effectively legalize drugs.
No, I didn't say that, and I want to be very clear. In the case of Mexico, even if you legalize drugs, the violence that Mexico is going through right now would not be resolved. That's why when I talk about these issues, I'm very clear in terms of what is the reason, why are these organizations so powerful? Because you have some kids, teenagers in California consuming marijuana. I don't think so. It's much bigger than that. Even if you legalize marijuana tomorrow, it wouldn't resolve the problem. If you legalize cocaine tomorrow, it wouldn't resolve. You saw the example in this extraordinary report. I have to congratulate you all because it's an extraordinary report. It's very difficult to do those types of reporting from Mexico. They're now trafficking with ore in China. See what I mean? They're trafficking with guns in Mexico.
Right.
So I think we need to look at the bigger picture.
Maria Salazar, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Mexico City.